Hi, this is Inspiration Daily. I'm Gina Greenlee with GinaGreenlee.com, and this is November 2nd. I'm inspired by the fact that I can see the sky. I grew up in Manhattan, also known as the Valley of Tall Buildings, and you couldn't look out and see the sky because you were surrounded by buildings, and you could look up and see a sliver of it, and most of the time, you know, the sky wasn't really blue. It's kind of, you got this sort of gray cover in major cities in the United States. So I mentioned in an Inspiration Daily, I think it was a day or two ago, about my Rightful Geographic Home. I live in a small town on the Gulf Coast of Florida, not the East Coast of Florida, that's highly developed, overdeveloped, which is why everybody's coming over to the Gulf Coast. They're also coming from all over the country. They used to just come from the Midwest, but now they're coming from California. They're from Europe. They're coming everywhere. This is a vacation town. The population off season is very small. It's under 100,000 compared to the city of 8.5 million people where I grew up. I wanted a small town, so it's very deliberate. So so there's not a lot of tall buildings here, which is great. People, apartment complexes, they don't go over 3 stories. And I think one of the reasons for that I believe that there's a statute in Florida that says if you're 4 stories or higher, you have to add an elevator. So I live in a complex where that's only 3 stories high, so folks don't have to deal with elevators. So, but I love that I can see the sky. And when I got here, when I got myself here 13 years ago, in 2008, I just couldn't stop looking at the skies. It was like I was seeing it for the first time, and it reminded me of so many trips that I had taken worldwide, whether I was in the Himalayas, watching the sunrise and the sunset, or I'm in the jungles of Thailand, watching the scene, looking at the sky. The Mediterranean coast, just the Grand Canyon and other places out west, the painted desert. It was just sky, this panorama. And one of the reasons I knew that I never thought I'd live in Florida, but apart from the climate, apart from the actual warmth of it, I didn't realize how much I had, my system, my cells had missed engaging nature, having grown up around concrete and steel and glass in New York City. So you look everywhere. You don't have to be. I live 7 minutes from the beach. I could actually walk to the beach. It would probably take me about an hour to walk, hour and change, but it's a 7-minute scooter ride to the beach. And that's how close I am. But I don't have to be on the beach. A lot of people go to beach. That's the thing, in Florida, the Gulf Coast, you go to the beach, you have cocktails, and there's drumming circles and all kinds of things happening because, people are celebrating the sun, celebrating the change, the wonder, the majesty of this planetary interaction. And, but I don't have to be on the beach to see that magnificent sunset. I can be 7 minutes east of that, and I can still see it because I don't have 8 million buildings in the way. That's changing in the small town I live in. The downtown is just horrendous. It used to be low. Now they're building all these condominiums, that are like, 50 stories high. I mean, it's ugly. But I live in the burbs. I live in the suburbs. And I would actually live more rural, except I don't want to live out in the woods by myself. So, but I can see the sky, and that's what inspires me. This visceral, easy connection to nature. And there's so much more nature to connect to here as well. People think of Florida, they think of Disney, and they think of, Florida is one of these states that people make, I don't know, people in the United States make fun of. I think I used to be one of those people. It's it has a reputation for being wacky, but, I think there's some of that. Just like my hometown of Manhattan, has its own reputation. But seeing the sky, being able to commune with nature without having to go somewhere. I mean, we have incredible nature preserves here and state forests. I mean, again, a lot of people think about Disney and, they think about overdevelopment, but that's not what we call old Florida. And there's still a lot of old Florida left, and there are a lot of people who are fighting to make sure that old Florida is protected, like so many around the United States and around the globe, trying to protect, the natural world, because we need that. We need that as humans. I mean, we're part of it. All these cells we're all connected. We're connected, and so yeah, seeing the sky. I can all of my windows in my apartment, I'm face west, so I can see the sunset every night, and I love the afterglow of the orange and the purple and stuff like that. So it feels so enlivening to just have that connection that I spent my early life not having. And I think that's one of the reasons why when I traveled, I never wanted to go to cities. I mean, I would fly into the major city. I remember going to Australia. I was based in Sydney, and like boom, went out to day trips in the bush, and then I spent 2 days in Sydney, and I got out of Sydney, and then I went out, in the country, in the bush, and then I went up to Cairns. So I don't, again, I go to Thailand. Yeah, okay, you go to Bangkok, you go to Chiang Mai, but then I go go and camp with the hill tribes. I have a guide. I don't go by myself, and I go to the rural parts of the country and commune with nature and commune with humans who commune with nature. So that's my inspiration for today. The fact that I can see the sky, and it inspires me to remember that I'm not separate from planet Earth, from Mother Earth. I'm part of her, and it inspires me. Tomorrow is whatever day it is. I'm going to go for a walk in this place called this preserve. It was a landfill that was reimagined, called Rothenbach Park, and it's just beautiful canopy. When I've gone walking in there, I kid you not, one Sunday I saw 10 deer, and you see deer, you see all these wild animals. It's really lovely. So that's my inspiration for today. Take care now.